Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast podcast for the week of December 11th, 2023. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your co-host, Chris.
And we have a ton of stuff to dive in this week. I managed to see Godzilla Minus One, so I'll dive into that later on in Show and Tell. We got a bunch of other stuff, I'm sure. We also watched Home Alone 3 for our latest Everything Action commentary that's coming up just in time for Christmas, so we'll talk about that later on as well. But unfortunately, we have to kick things off this week with some extremely sad news. Andre Braugher passed away at age 61.
Just surprise.
Yeah, I guess he had some sort of like short, but like sort of short battle with an illness, and it didn't work out. I feel this hit like same as like when like Lance Reddick passed away earlier this year, where it's just like, oh man, someone so good, so awesome, and just all of a sudden they're gone now.
Yeah, just when they become more, on the tip of everyone's mind, and they're more quotable, and I don't know, like there's still a bunch of like memes and stuff from Captain Holt, even though Brooklyn Nine-Nine ended like 2 years ago. Like that show had momentum.
Captain Holt is going to go down forever as like one of the greatest TV characters of all time.
So it's very strange to think that he's just gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when he's played a very diverse array of characters that are basically a stern figure. And either he's very funny or very scary.
Well, that's the incredible thing about Andre Braugher was like he could be in the most serious, like dramatic thing ever, but then also flip around and be like in like the goofiest, and then be like the goofiest part of like the goofiest thing. Like Brooklyn, like every episode of Brooklyn Nine, there's always at least one great like Captain Holt joke that like Andre Braugher just delivered with like it was always deadpan, but like it was just like the perfect, just like hilarious deadpan. And then, but then also he was in like Homicide: Life on the Streets like back in the day. That was like a super dramatic, serious show. Like he was one of the main characters in that show for 100 episodes. I also definitely remember him. He was one that like he was in The Mist, and I think I can't remember. He was. I mean, he was one of the townsfolk that was trapped in the supermarket. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen The Mist, but I think he was either like left in like there's a group that like left and just like wandered off into the mist, and then they got rescued, and then but then there's also like a group that like a bunch of people got like snatched up by giant weird interdimensional spider monsters and stuff. So I think he was one of the ones that was like, I'm out of here, like I'll take my chance in the mist, and then just like left. And then another thing I definitely remember him before I saw him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like the one thing I remember him seeing him in was there was this weird show called Last Resort. Did you ever see this or hear about this, Chris?
Is that the one with the ship?
So this was a Sean Ryan show. So the guy who made The Shield. This was one of his. It was an ABC show, and yeah, it was Andre Braugher was the captain of a like nuclear submarine.
Yeah,
and then
there was I watched bits of this.
Yeah, and then there was like some sort of weird, like I think there was a conspiracy that I think they would have gotten into if they had lasted more than one season, but some sort of like cabal or evil cabal, and like the U.S. government was like trying to like take over or like start a war with like Pakistan or something. So they were like it was very like Crimson Tide-esque, where like they were getting told to like launch nuclear missiles, and they were like, we're not gonna do this without like proper orders or
no. It got crazy. It had 2 seasons.
I think the second season. It was one season of like 13 episodes.
Was it?
Yeah.
I remember basically America went crazy, and then they decided to just travel the sea, and because they had a nuclear cruiser, they can basically make their own water and stuff.
Are you thinking of Last Ship?
I'm thinking of Last Ship. Is that
because Last Ship came out afterwards, and that was kind of like this one is like it like kind of makes more sense. It is like doing what Last Resort tried to do.
Okay, I think the fact that it's called Last Resort and then Last
Last
Ship may
Yeah.
I'm confusing the crap out of the two.
Last Resort was they basically took over like a Pacific island or like a Caribbean island, and then they were like operating out of there and trying to figure out what was going on. And then, but then like the U.S. government was like, or like whatever the cabal in the U.S. government was, which was like trying to like take them out. And then Andre Braugher was like launching nuclear missiles at them, or like threatening them with like nuclear missiles, of like in a very like Ed Harris in like the Rock kind of situation where like he launched a missile, but then like stopped at the last minute, and he's like, "Don't mess with us again."
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking of like a couple different shows that I'm inserting him into.
Yeah. Last Ship was like the first season was the like there was like the global pandemic, and then afterwards it kind of became just like a post-apocalyptic military action show. But yeah, Andre Braugher, tons of great performances across like TV shows and movies. Obviously, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is going to be probably his like enduring legacy. But yeah, R.I.P. to definitely a goat. Just could do comedy drama like exceptionally well. Emmy Award winner multiple times. Huge loss to the world of entertainment. So, moving on, we got a couple of trailers diving into this week, and we got the first trailer for Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, the fourth movie in the Beverly Hills Cop series, 30 years after Beverly Hills Cop 3. Eddie Murphy's back as Axel Foley, and on Netflix now. This is a Netflix original movie. That's coming out next summer, and Axel has to go to Beverly Hills again. I believe because like one of his old friends or one of his old confidants dies, and he heads to Beverly Hills, and then he gets roped into this. There's a bunch of corrupt Beverly Hills cops that are like doing shady stuff, and then Axel like kind of gets like roped into like trying to stop them or figure out what's going on with them. From the trailer, it seems clearly Kevin Bacon is like the leader of the corrupt cops.
Is he a cop?
I feel like he is because like he has that like he and like Axel had that conversation about like, oh, like we're our lives on the line for what, and it's
I don't know if he was a cop because it makes it seem like Kevin Bacon was more of a greedy businessman now. Maybe he was a former cop or something, but
or maybe maybe he's not a cop anymore, but he has like cops working for him or something. He's like, just like a criminal kingpin or something.
It's not as obvious as this is this crooked cop, and then he's got other crooked cops because it's like too many of them, and they're way too organized for a precinct to be asking where are all these guys? Like suddenly, why is Beverly Hills just a breeding ground for crook cops?
It's become like was that like the Rampart like scandal? That was like it was like that it was like an L.A. like police scandal, like the ramp, like it was like the Rampart station or something. There was like a movie with like I think Woody Harrelson was in it, but it was like this huge like there was like like tons and tons of like cops that were all like corrupt and doing like
I mean, there was a inner gang and a cop thing that they all had these like tattoos that symbolize that they're inducted in. It was like based on a real life LA cop like thing. I don't know if it was just to one precinct, but yeah, they don't talk about that anymore. It's something that, like, in a way, in other movies in the 80s, this would have been the crash unit or like the whatever that was in Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about, like the zombie unit.
And there's also was it this year? I think it was last year. There was like that We Own the City, like the John Bernthal show about there was the Baltimore.
Oh yeah, the Baltimore
task force.
That was another thing.
Yeah,
that was another like basically 80% of that team was corrupt, and they were doing I don't know,
everything.
They were doing crazy. Yeah, like they were enforcing the law, making their own laws up, and then extorting. I think their big thing was extorting because then they were pitting gangs against each other.
And they were also whatever all the drugs they confiscated, they basically sold all of it and then took all the money.
So you still haven't seen Reptile yet, right?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
It's just that. It's just take the whole copy paste over and over again. It's the story that we keep telling about cops.
Yeah, I don't know if Beverly Hills Cop Axel F is going to get that dramatic and serious about police corruption or anything, but
If suddenly there are snake scales and a lot of metaphors about washing hands, I will turn it off. I would be, you can't trick me again, Netflix. But I like it. I also considered Eddie Murphy's movie Metro a Beverly Hills Cop movie, so this is the 5th movie for me.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen Metro?
I'm trying to think if I have. I don't think I have.
You basically have if you've seen the first 3 Beverly Hills Cop movies. It's just now he's a New York cop and he's training Michael Rappaport.
Yeah.
Is the newcomer officer to his department, and he's training him how to deal with New York criminals. He's mentoring, but it's pretty much the same concept. But this is fine. The fact that Eddie Murphy he looks like he's in good shape. He doesn't look that old. Like in My Name Is Dolomite, he looked way older, but now he looks kind of what Axel Foley would have looked now in his 50s. And he this is like a great return. I don't like the fact that this took him this long for a sequel 20 something years later.
Well, it's been a crazy road because they were talking about the show, and then it was gonna be and he was gonna be the chief, and then his son was gonna be the star, and then it was a CBS show, and that went on way, and then there was I think there was another
a Fox show too.
There's been multiple kind of how are we gonna bring back Beverly Hills Cop stuff going on.
I would love a documentary, a mini documentary about how this movie finally got out the door. I feel like this script has just been edited, recompiled, taken from 9 different movies, and then some executive at Netflix probably was just saying how crazy it was to own this, and then they did. This doesn't feel like a Netflix flavor. I feel like Netflix was just the highest or lowest bidder. I feel like Amazon just sank so much money buying Lord of the Rings that they just could not buy the Beverly Hills brand.
Yeah, there's a crazy kind of tragic twist with the directors, because the guys who directed Bad Boys for Life were originally signed on to direct this movie, and then they had to bail out because of Batgirl.
Oh, that's sad.
And so they're like, well, we can't do this movie anymore. We're working on our Batgirl movie that's surely going to come out in theater.
That's going to boost our careers.
Yeah. So actually, the director is Mark Malloy, who is an Australian commercial director. I believe this is his feature film debut. He's only directed, stuff for Apple and some other companies, but he hasn't directed a full movie until now. So we'll have to see how that goes. And we mentioned Kevin Bacon. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is also co-starring. Mark Pellegrino, Bronson Pinchot, Paul Reiser, Judge Reinhold, and John Ashton all back from the original trilogy.
I do like that. I do enjoy that they do have more of the original cast.
And so it's summer 2024. There's no definite date yet. I'm sure hopefully we'll get that soon. It's just sometime in the summer next year. We're getting the return of Axel Foley. And then we also got the first trailer for one of A24's big movies next year, Civil War, which is the new movie from Alex Garland, who has brought us Ex Machina, Annihilation, Men, Devs, and Civil War is basically what you get from the title. It's a modern civil war in America, and Nick Offerman is the president, and he apparently ordered civilian to get bombed, and there's different factions. There's the Western Alliance, which is California and Texas, and which is a really bizarre pairing. Why would they form an alliance? Yeah.
Normally, Texas and California don't like each other,
Yeah.
but they put
I
aside their difference for, I don't know, oil.
Yeah, I think there's a scene. It's kind of hard to see. I'm sure they'll probably get into it in the actual movie comes out. But there's a scene in the trailer where you kind of see a map of like maybe what the factions are, and it's like a lot of like it's like the northern like there's like this like different colored borderlines, and it's like kind of like the middle chunk of the country is like going across from like the like northeast to like to the California border is like one faction, and then like everything like kind of North Dakota, South Dakota, Michigan, like that the northern north central area of the country is also another faction.
I'm fine with that. I don't go there.
And then the movie's following a group like there's a group of like journalists like Kirsten Dunst is a like photojournalist trying to like document the war, and then Wagner Moura from Narcos, and a whole bunch of other stuff is in there. Like he's like a dad trying to like get his daughter through the war zone. Jesse Plemons is like a very scary looking soldier for one of the factions.
He looks like Todd from
Yes.
Breaking Bad. He's essentially Todd if you just went to military.
Todd found some crazy red sunglasses. I don't even know there's like sunglasses. They're like red tinted glasses.
Like you read at a Hot Topic.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely looks interesting. I'm sure it's gonna be like loaded with like social commentary along with some intense, war scenes. I'm sure it's gonna be extremely controversial. I feel like it's already controversial with the trailer coming out, and then I'm sure there's gonna be like tons of hot takes and reaction videos when the movie comes out.
It's a fun concept. I like the idea of America raging out, and the enemy isn't some like Russian or North Korean or alien. It's just regular Americans who decided to just kind of go tribal. They sort of do that in Last of Us, where you see the ruins of like society banned, and it's either like our weird Savager group versus their like Ravager group. So it's interesting because like that's fun in post-apocalyptic movies. Except this time, it's just regular America going to war on each other. There's no MacGuffin. Nuclear like devastation didn't happen. Fungus didn't go wild. Aliens didn't just turn off the power. So that's what I like about that.
And this also kind of seems like the DMZ, like it's like the DMZ adaptation we should have gotten. Because like that was like
about that show. Was that in America? DMZ?
DMZ. I think DMZ is like it's about a civil war in America, but I think it's still like really focused on like Manhattan, because like Manhattan, New York is like the DMZ area between like the two warring factions. But yeah, I mean the show is fine, but this kind of seems like a better explanation of that kind of idea. And that's going to be April 26th next year is when you can see that. Definitely, everything Alex Garland has done so far has been incredible. So I'm definitely super excited to see this and see what he's up to. So moving on, we also got some news this week about a sequel to Saw X. So we're getting Saw 11 or Saw XI next year. They're turning around super fast. It's going to be September 27th next year is when Saw 11 is coming out. And no word on casting it. Like if Tobin Bell's going to come back again, I would have to imagine hopefully yes, because that was like one of the main reasons Saw X was so good.
Just let Hoffman be the new Jigsaw. Just Hoffman moving again.
Do you would you want it like another like interquel where it's like between like other movies, or you and I always talk about we want the movie like after final chapter.
Yeah, I want you can you can set something up in an interquel, and then halfway through it switches to the future, and it's now after the final chapter, and you basically have the 3 or 4 different Jigsaw, killers claiming that they are the true heir. Give me that, a Jigsaw like war between like the copycat, the doctor, the other doctor, and then Hoffman.
Mm-hmm.
Give me that. I would love to see. And then it's like them trying to either they're in a trap, all of them themselves, or it's who can dish out the most justice in their twisted ways. To me, think of it as if they're not supposed to team up. That's the point, is that they can't work together. So they can't just form like this awesome Saw team that Jigsaw did. Because he essentially recruited these people, and either they were already kind of crazy or he made them that way. But Hoffman doesn't work with anyone else. Amanda's dead. So what? I as much as like it says, like I don't need another like in between. What is it called? Like it's already sequel to a in between troll. So it's just more of that, because it's still between the events of
2 and 3.
2 and 3. Yeah.
Well, Sox is between 1 and 2. So yeah, I'm not sure where you would like jam another story in.
It seems like it's all in that same like timeline too. So if they do another movie, let's say 2 to 3, it's just Donnie Wahlberg like growing his facial hair out, and then I don't know, setting up the trap in 3, because 3 was like all around a city. It wasn't in one location. It was all around whatever weird city that SWAT leader guy had to drive around. I think that one was the one about the insurance. I think.
I think the insurance one was like 4 or 5.
No. Specifically, it was Jigsaw's insurance guy, because he's the one who was making sure that the SWAT guy was doing things on time. It turns out he was in the game. That was the big twist about him.
Yeah. Well, whatever they do with Saw 11, hopefully they learn the lesson of Saw X and keep it straightforward, like because that's what made Saw X so good, is like it was back to basics. It was just straightforward Saw. They weren't trying to do any sort of like whatever they're trying to do with Jigsaw and Spiral, with like expanding the lore or like adding like complicating the the timeline. Just like, I mean, it did sort of complicate the timeline, but it didn't worry about any like it was just like a straightforward John Kramer game movie with simple but like super effective traps.
Yes. Though some of the explanation of how he was able to do this in a day, kind of crazy.
I feel like he had maybe more than a day, but like, yeah, it was a very short time frame to get find this factory, rig everything up, rig all these like super complicated like mechanical devices, call Amanda, get her down there,
like ship metal and equipment down,
poisonous gas and an X-ray machine.
Well, the X-ray machine was already there.
Yeah, I think he used a lot of the abandoned, because like it was like the abandoned fake medical clinic had a bunch of stuff that he repurposed, but
for him to make an electric chair thing, that one was crazy, because like who has that in a medical facility? Oh, it was a Iron Maiden electric chair, the one with the guy that had cut out his brain.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, still, great movie. Just you have to spend that much belief. At least in the Saw movies, you don't know when he's built these things. They're just already there, so they don't need to explain it. But in this one, it's a different country. He flew to this country ready to set up shop.
But yeah, we'll find out in September next year if Saw 11, continues this upward trend, or the return to form for Saw, or if we drop back into the dregs of Jigsaw and Spiral. Which at some point you still need, you need to see Spiral, Chris, just to experience it.
But now that I know that basically there's light at the end of the tunnel,
mm-hmm.
It's worth seeing.
I mean, Spiral has nothing to do with anything.
I know. Why did they call it the Book of Jigsaw if Jigsaw didn't write this book?
I think the only thing is the killer in that movie was inspired by Jigsaw. That's the only connection. There's no other characters that show up. There's no connections to the timeline.
It's he's a copycat killer.
He's a copycat killer. Yeah, that's the only connection. Is the actual Saw main series. But yeah, we'll find out. I'm sure we'll both be there in September when Saw comes out. Saw 11. see what's going on with it.
Oh, maybe they should stylize it, call Slevin.
Slevin, yeah. So we also this week got a bunch of news about upcoming Marvel Studios animated shows. What If is actually starting next Friday. We're getting the second season of What If, and then next year we are getting 3 new shows. Actually, I think one of them might not be 2024, but there's definitely two new ones coming next year. So, X-Men 97, which is the highly anticipated sequel to the Fox animated series, is coming next year. We don't have an exact date yet, but it definitely is 100% coming sometime next year. Which I think we're both extremely excited for. We both love the original X-Men series.
Yeah, in my head, I thought that series ran for 5 seasons. It only ran for 3.
Mm-hmm. That's just how big the impact was. It just feels like it was forever and massive, but it was this a relatively short time frame.
Yep.
And and yet they jammed so many X-Men stories into it. They did the best Phoenix saga ever on screen. They did. All these other Mojo World and all these other X-Men stories.
They explained Scott Summers' father. They just sort of connected that. They did the Weapon X program. They did Apocalypse, whatever he was doing with the Psychic Tower.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that was. I don't know what arc that was exactly. Didn't they also have a clone arc where Mr. Sinister cloned someone, or is that just?
I mean, Mr. Sinister was definitely there. I don't remember exactly what he did.
He was doing. I just remember he captured Jean and Scott.
I feel like it might. I feel like personally, I might try to do a rewatch of the entire series at some point before this comes out.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking about doing that just because I can close my eyes and rewatch that first episode of X-Men.
Mm-hmm, yep.
It's
Morph!
Yeah, the Morph one. Oh my god. And then when he comes back later.
Yeah.
I still remember when Morph he faked being Rogue, and he's he kisses Gambit. And I was like, oh, what? A little too deep for your cover over here, Morph. Were you just...
I'm a method actor.
He's very method. I get it. I want to kiss Gambit too. Very romantic, but that was so not necessary to infiltrate.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he was trying to take a book out of Mystique's page, but at least Mystique does it with style and doesn't give away the position.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also, the one episode that really stands, I mean, we'll probably do, but you know what? I got it. So before that, we'll do our own little review, because we can talk about our favorite arcs and stuff. That's a whole another thing we can definitely tangent.
Mm-hmm.
So make that note. Make a note for that. When that gets released.
When we know the date, we'll do an entire episode just dedicated to X-Men the Animated Series.
Yep, let's have a massive review on that one. But before we change subjects, I forget what toy company that is working with Disney to make the new toy line for X-Men 97, but they already spoiled one character. Just they already have this other character that they're just oh, we're also going to bring her back in.
Mm-hmm.
The Goblin Queen.
Okay.
Madeline Price. I think that was her name. Basically the clone of Jean Grey.
Mm-hmm.
So there we have a toy for her that's going to be supposedly appearing in X-Men 97.
Yeah, and X-Men 97 is going to pick up. They're saying it's going to pick up right where the original Fox series left off. So
I can't even tell you what the last episode was. I just don't remember.
Hopefully this does well. Maybe we'll get a Spider-Man the animated series, like Spider-Man
Just
whatever
give me
year.
a special. Just give me a goddamn special. Or next Across the Spider-Verse, he appears in the background, just like flying around Madam Web.
And then just like a quick line or just like a quick explanation of like, oh yeah, we found Mary Jane, it was fine, like she like because the show ends, Mary Jane is lost in like the fucking Spider-Verse, and like they assembled their own spider team, and then it's just like Madam Web's just like, well, step into this portal and we'll go on to our next adventure next season, and then it was like, nope, we'll never hear from you again. Next time we knew Peter was like hitching a ride on a rocket ship and going to like an animal planet.
Super weird, right? I was thinking about that because I was thinking, is this in the same universe? And then there was no confirmation back then. The internet wasn't like popping with crazy theories or whatever. And then, do you even see Mary Jane in that unlimited version?
Maybe, I think. I'm not sure. I think I watched like the first episode of Spider-Man Unlimited. I was like, I don't know. This is not.
I remember the first part. I remember the first part too. The one thing I don't remember though is, did he end up in an alternate dimension, or is it just another planet?
It was like, I think it was like the Anaverse or something. It was like something or like oh, was it? It was Counter Earth. So it was like the High Evolutionary, like all stuff you saw in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 this year. Like that was Peter Parker ran into that like early in like Spider-Man Unlimited. Like he was like dealing with like beast hybrids and High Evolutionary and everything.
But then there were humans? Because how did he not be Spider-Man on that planet?
Well,
did he get a job? You know, I gotta watch it again before we just ask these questions. But
yeah,
very weird.
And then like John Jameson's there, and then he turns into the Man-Wolf all the time. And
well, he was in the rocket, so that made sense for him to be there. But he didn't also demand Peter for photos of Spider-Man to sort of keep that motif going.
And then somehow like Venom and Carnage showed up because they were like already there, or they also were on the rocket. Anyway, speaking of Spider-Man, we're getting a new Spider-Man animated series next year. It was originally called Spider-Man Freshman Year, but now it's called Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And this is going to be a prequel to the MCU Spider-Man. It's basically what Peter was up to before we saw him in Civil War. So like high school, like Peter, like super early Spider-Man career. Tom Holland isn't going to come back to voice Peter, so they're getting a new voice actor. But Charlie Cox is going to be on the show as Daredevil / Matt Murdock, so that's fun. And it has a extremely like the art style is like extremely like Steve Ditko, like 60s 70s Spider-Man, like classic looking Spider-Man stuff. So hopefully that's good. It's been a while since we had like a really good Spider-Man animated series.
Yeah, because I thought about the last one I recently saw, and that was because I was hanging out with like kids, and that was the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, like not that one with like kids where it's like Peter, Gwen, like Spider-Ghost, and Miles are all somehow the same age.
I mean, Spectacular is like probably the best like recent Spider-Man series.
Still haven't seen all of that.
Well, you can't now because it's not Disney Plus anymore. They took it off because of licensing reasons.
Themselves? Don't they own it themselves? It's so
that
weird.
That was a Sony owns that show because that was like it was before their deal with Disney and everything. So Sony basically has like full control over like where Spectacular Spider-Man goes, and hopefully
I hope it ends up on like PlayStation Plus for free.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think it was originally like it was on Netflix. Because like Sony has that deal with Netflix for like a lot of stuff.
I do remember that. I
And then
remember
they
seeing it there too.
and then they had that whole deal where like they brought all the the Sam Raimis, the Amazing Spider-Mans, the Venoms, all that stuff went into Disney Plus, and I think that came like Spectacular Spider-Man came with that, but then I think the license for just Spectacular Spider-Man in particular like expired, so then they're like Disney didn't want to pay for that license again, so they booted it off the service. But yeah, Friday Spider-Man is coming next year, and then we also got word about another new series, which I don't think is coming next year, but it's some point in the near future on Disney Plus. Eyes of Wakanda, which is going to be a Black Panther Wakanda animated series that is going to be. It sounds like kind of like an anthology show where it's like every episode is going to be a new like Wakandan warrior through history. Like it's like the history of Wakanda, but like different like warriors who
Take up the mantle.
Take up the mantle of Black Panther, or like did other like important things for Wakanda.
I'm fine with that. I feel like there was only one Black Panther show, and that was on the BET, where it was like that webcomic style.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'm fine with more Black Panther animation that kind of explores not just T'Challa. I like the concept of the nation, and then where they stand in that world. Because the movie only briefly glimmers on that, and then they are not mentioned in other major events. Like they have no interest in solving anything else.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be cool to show like if we got to see Wakanda or like a Black Panther or something deal, like if it was like go like really far back, like Victorian era, or like even like prehistoric times or something. Just go like totally like hopefully there's like a lot of different time periods, different like eras that we're seeing.
Well, okay, so I'm not sure if it's prehistoric, but it was that one group that found the flower that they hint at in the first movie, where they cultivated and then hid themselves away and then made a super society, but then kept everyone out. Yeah, no, I don't know when they would secretly get involved, like besides doing Black Ops, doing those things that is just people telling other people about vibranium. Mostly it'd be that, wouldn't it? It would be essentially stopping vibranium black market people.
Yeah, I think they're definitely like sending people out to like get intel or do stuff for Wakanda outside of Wakanda.
Yeah, there's no McDonald's in Wakanda, so they didn't do like a good job.
Yeah. But yeah, lots of animated stuff coming to Disney Plus in the near future here. So hopefully it's all great. And then last bit of news this week is that we got some word about a crazy new I think definitely a musical. I don't know if it's like going to be a Broadway musical or like off Broadway, but there is a musical adaptation of The Lost Boys in development. The Joel Schumacher, Kiefer Sutherland, Corey's Jason Patrick classic is getting turned into a musical. Patrick Wilson is one of the producers on it, and it's being co-written by a bunch of people, including David Hornsby from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Mythic Quest. And there's a pop rock band called The Rescues is working on the music. And then a Tony Award-winning director, Michael Arden, is also working on it. He directed a musical on Broadway called Parade. That's like one of the biggest Broadway hits of like recent years. Like he won this year won a Tony Award for like best direction for a musical. But yeah, I mean, how do you first the Warriors? We talked about the Warriors a couple months ago. That's getting turned into a musical, and now the Lost Boys. Like, what is a Lost Boys musical? I mean, obviously, you have "I Still Believe" as one of the songs. Or else you've totally failed as a musical about the Lost Boys. You get someone to play Tim Capello and like just blast the saxophone shirtless.
Yeah, like how often does he do that beach concert in that town that everyone comes out and has like a blast?
Yeah. And then the Jason Patrick character like is does he have a song about turning into a vampire, and then the Kiefer character has like David has a character like a song about how cool it is to be a vampire. And are we gonna get like a bunch of theatrical blood? Like it's gonna be like a gore musical where like they get stabbed like just like there's like the splash zone.
Right. It might be like more of a comedy, right? Because I feel like you can't be a serious Lost Boy thing, especially when
I feel like if they brought David Hornsby in, it feels like they're definitely like leaning into like it's gonna be goofier, like
the tone.
Like the songs are all probably like funny and like it's gonna be like definitely more of like a comedy.
So I know right now there's still like a wait to see the Back to the Future musical.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I saw some of like they had like a little bit of that performance at like the Macy's Day Parade this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw that, but that seems that I mean it's definitely funny. Like there's like it's very self aware of like that. It's like it should not work as a musical, and it's like commenting that it's a musical and how weird it is. Like there's like a line in one of the songs like Doc Brown's like I don't there's Marty's like where do these girls come from, and Doc's like I don't know, when they start singing they show up. I don't know.
So I hope it's something like that. I hope it like musicals that it normally wouldn't be a good musical idea just because there are no musical numbers in the original, and then the tone of it was kind of focus, for that. So the breakout in song and dance is just more of a distraction from just the goal, because there's an urgency in Lost Boys. Like they're trying to figure out who the hell the leader is, and then stop them from like taking the brother. So for them to make a musical, it's like, oh, so they just doing their feeling, or is it like, what I mean? There's like two flavors of musical. Are they just expressing their feeling at the moment, or they're doing like a montage musical where it's supposed to like speed up whatever the task is at hand.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Lost Boys is packed with songs. Like it's got like People Are Strange and I Still Believe, and there's a couple other like actual songs. So
I gotta watch it and rewatch it again.
But yeah, it definitely seems like they're like there's gonna be original songs. It's gonna be more comedic potentially. So yeah, we'll see where this ends up. Is like on Broadway or off Broadway, or where this like where you can go see this Lost Boys musical? Who's gonna star in it? Who's gonna be the new Kiefer? Who's gonna be the Coreys? Yeah, and no word on when they think it's gonna debut or anything. This is like it's like extremely early days for this Lost Boys musical, but yeah, that seems like the thing that it's like the dominant musical now is just like returning like popular movies into musicals. That's what Broadway is now. with one or two like original ones sprinkled in like here and there, but like the big ones are all like we said, like Back to the Future and I mean, is Lion King still playing, or is
Lion King's still there?
Yeah,
Lion King, Aladdin, like Disney musicals are just a thing. Eventually, a lot of Disney things just become musicals. It helps if they are already a musical; it just becomes like a super musical. Right now, I think Frozen's a musical on Broadway.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. Catch Me If You Can became a musical.
Did it?
I'm searching for like movies that turned into Broadway musicals. Beetlejuice. That was a big one. That's a big recent one, I think. Like I think they're doing like a Mrs. Doubtfire one and like a Almost Famous, Pretty Woman, Mean Girls.
Mean Girls, like they're doing the movie based on the musical now.
Groundhog Day, yeah. There was an American Psycho brought a musical in 2016.
Yeah, I did hear about that. They said that it was like really hard to get off the ground, and they did
Mhm.
more shows in London than they did the premiere in New York, and it lasted like a year, and then that was it. I wanted to see that one. That one was like stylish, but
Mhm.
apparently just there was no market at the time.
Yeah, maybe someday we'll have to go see one of these, like the Warriors or like the Lost Boys or something, Chris.
Dude, they do a thing in the fall where like it's half price musicals, like half
Hmm.
price Broadway tickets. You can scoop up these tickets and just sort of make it like a whole day worth. I don't mind. Like I'm a fan of musicals when it's
Hmm.
entertaining. When it's very dramatic musicals, I just feel like please don't sing this sad song, and then there's more.
Les Miserables, like.
Oh, yeah, Mille Misera, Cats.
Hmm.
Like, people like Cats, but it's like if you look at the real meaning, it's really goddamn sad.
Yeah.
And I still don't want to see the live action one. I'm just not ready for that.
Nope. But yeah, so Lost Boys and potentially other, your favorite 80s and 90s movies are gonna become musicals at some point in the near future here. So
Everything you love will become a musical.
yes. So that's it for news. So why don't we jump into show and tell? And Chris, you and I both watched Home Alone 3 for our big Christmas slash December commentary for the site, which will be up, I believe, next week on the site. So to come back for that. But our grand tradition of watching a Home Alone movie starting 3 years ago, we watched the first one, and then we watched two, and then last year we watched one of the worst movies ever made, Almost Be Home Alone.
Like, just
And,
I get mad. I think about that movie.
but Home Alone 3 is just right in the middle there. Like, it's nowhere near as good as the first two, but it's nowhere near as bad as the ones that come after it. It's just like perfectly fine late 90s kids movie.
Yeah. Except this is the first Home Alone that we saw that had like a lot of guns, more than you think.
Well, that's like the escalation is crazy, where it starts in like Hong Kong with like an arms deal, whereas like the first two were like, oh, it's the family's eating pizza, like it's like get to know his family, and then this is like international terrorists are doing an arms deal.
Wait, the family wasn't even eating pizza; and they only eat it at the end.
Well, in the first one when like Joe Pesci's there and like they're like waiting for pizza to show up, and that's like the whole thing of
Oh,
like yeah.
oh yeah, it's just because of the insane family gathering in that house.
And then two they had like the school recital or whatever, the school like musical where like Buzz makes a fool of Kevin with the candles and everything.
His family sucks. It's like they
Mm.
had this many witnesses to show that it was justified, and then what happens next of that bleacher scene is not Kevin's fault. That is straight up the engineering of that bleacher.
The family in Home Alone 3 also kind of sucks.
Oh no, they were like they didn't have just like a bully brother. They had just bully siblings.
Yeah, like so like Scarlett Johansson is Alex's so Alex DeLinz is the main character Alex. Also, you probably know him as Max Keeble from Max Keeble's Big Move. But yeah, Scarlett Johansson is his sister, and then Seth Smith is his brother, and they're like this like weird unit of like they have like a mind meld, or they just like do the same the same like torture like method to him of just like
Well, it's like mind bullying, and then it's mental games.
yeah.
Then on top of that, it is as if they rehearsed the kind of taunts that they would do to their brother.
Yeah, they have a very like choreographed back and forth of what they're gonna like, what they're like, what each of them like when the other one comes in and what they're gonna say, and it seems very practiced and like they've just meet in like the room and just like work on like, all right, how are we gonna what are we gonna say like Alex's time to like mentally scar him. then also like Alex's mom. Uh, at first it seems like, oh, she's gonna stay home because like the big thing that like is like Alex gets chickenpox, so that's like why he has to stay home from school, and like why it's like he's being left home alone. But then like his mom works at like some sort of like business firm. I don't think we ever have an idea what the hell they do. Or no, is it real estate? I think maybe is she like a real estate agent or something?
I have no idea.
But yeah, basically, but she gets called in and she's like, well, I my son's sick, but I'll come in once and then that's it. But then the next couple days, it's like I'm just gonna go. That worked out fine. I'm just gonna go work now. Like Alex, just fend for yourself. Like
Yeah, because she pleads like, okay, one day at worst, I'll go and tough it out, like to.
and she's like super insistent to her boss on the phone. Like if Alex calls, I'm leaving. Like I don't care what the hell is going on here. I'm heading home and leaving. And then but then after that when she comes home and then like next couple days is like, well, I'm going to work, Alex. Bye. Like
Turns out I love the workforce. Bye.
Yeah, you're fine.
Like I get it, but the issue though is your son is calling the police like every day.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It is something where you really should not, like, I don't know, whatever the dad's doing for his business trip. Does he own the company? What is going on there? And then the mom seems like she can leave when she wants because she was able to like go pick up her kids from after school later, and then I don't know, she leaves like kind of late in the day. It doesn't seem like she leaves early because her kids get on a school bus and she goes to work.
Mm-hmm.
So she's leaving like 10 a.m. to her job. I don't know. We're trying to figure that out because this movie takes place over like a week.
Post Christmas, which is very like bizarre.
So after New Year's, right?
Yep.
It has to be because Christmas and New Year's is only 5 days apart. So is this a New Year's movie? I have no idea. And then they have no decorations in their house. There's no. It's actually in the beginning, if you remember, she's putting away Christmas decorations in the attic.
I think it's like a week after Christmas, or like a week after New Year's, because like I think at one point they specifically like asked like there's like a cab driver, they asked like, oh, did you remember taking this woman to like from the airport on like January 6th or something?
Yeah, it's like 4th or 6th. So it's a movie. It's definitely a Home Alone movie that takes place after the major holiday. It's very unusual because the first two establish that it's a Christmas movie, and then this one says no. I'm not sure about 4 and 5, and 6 was a Christmas movie again.
Well, 5 is, I think 5 is like the holiday heist. So that's like back to, and then I think 4 is also Christmas. So this is like the only one that's not a Christmas movie, or that takes place like during Christmas or around Christmas. Which I guess they're trying to like set this one like really try to like set this one apart from like the first two. Like it's not Christmas. It's like four crooks this time, 4 like international terrorists instead of like just like petty dumb burglars. But then like these like international like wanted criminals become just like what like Three Stooges goofballs like when they face with this like 8-year-old kid.
Who knew that's their weakness? Who knew a kid with like chicken pox would cause this much problems? It's enjoyable at some point. During the commentary, I complained about the lack of Chumbawamba, but it's justified that you see the trailer as a kid and you're like, hell yeah. And because I think the first 2 Home Alone movies are just in the trailer. All the music is just musical, so there's no lyrics or anything.
Well, yeah, I think it's John Williams like score, which this movie like sort of has, but it's not John Williams. It's like a guy doing a John Williams like impression.
I think you said it, or Penta said it, that this movie was like scored by John Williams' like apprentice.
I think it might be a Hans Zimmer apprentice.
Whoa.
I think we mentioned like at certain points like it kind of like, especially when like the terrorists are like doing like, or like criminals are doing their like criminal stuff, it kind of switches into like this like very like Hans Zimmer-esque like The Rock kind of like Crimson Tide sort of like thriller music, and not like the whimsical John Williams like Christmas music.
Well, the spy music was awesome.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, like that's like that you see the Hans Zimmer like influence on this like Nick Lenny Smith, who is the composer. Like it does have that bizarre Jamie Foxx cameo.
Yeah, I wonder if that was just like what was in demand, because is that why we don't have Chumbawamba? Is because they have the Jamie Foxx? And I looked at the soundtrack and he is not on the soundtrack. No, actually, I think he is. Sorry,
Like Jamie Foxx Experiment I think was the song. I found the music video. So like also if you come back to the site next week for our Monday feature musical montage, you can watch the Jamie Foxx Experiment music video.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, he is not. I do talk about the soundtrack while we watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But Jamie Foxx, they could not afford Jamie Foxx.
But it must have been like so like because this came out in '97. No, he didn't even have like an album. Like his first album was '94, and then his next album was 2005. So it's like a weird single, or like just like, hey, remember that Jamie Foxx album from 1994? Let's throw a song on there. It's like, was the director a fan of Jamie Foxx, or like, it's just, or like Jamie Foxx was like, hey, get me in Home Alone 3.
Really wanted to be in it.
Because 3 years after an album comes out is like seems like you're a little late to promote that album.
I mean, unless the album did terrible, and then
they
just said, "Well, it's cheap and easy."
I mean, it was Fox Music was like the soundtrack, so was Jamie Foxx on Fox Music? Maybe they're just like Fox was just what song do we own, like what album do we own that we can just throw a music video like a random music video on that like annoying old lady.
She really like did not want her TV playing music.
Which Alex somehow rigs up like a rifle, like a BB gun rifle scope, like a sniper scope from a BB gun, duct taped to a TV remote, and he's able to change the channels like across the street
through like concrete, through glass,
because the scope enhances the IR beam, I guess.
Sure, that's how that works.
Yeah, Alex is like I think even more than like Kevin, like a mechanical, like his like technological prowess is like crazy. Where he's coming up with like that remote device. He's coming up with like wireless transmitters that like for a camera that like given the feed from a remote control car like blocks down the streets. And then some of the traps are also like super like a lot more mechanical than some of the stuff Kevin did. So it's just like where's like Alex learning this like technological knowledge, mechanical knowledge. But yeah, we get into all that in the commentary. So definitely check back to the site next week. You can watch the whole entire movie with us. It's on Disney Plus. So besides Home Alone 3, Chris, did you watch anything else over the last week or so?
I did. Let's see. I caught on Netflix, as it was a reminder that it's leaving, the movie Dragnet. It's been so long since I saw that movie. The 1980s.
Dan Aykroyd, Tom Hanks.
Yep.
Wow.
This is
okay.
another Dragnet movie, but
there definitely was not.
Yeah, no, I just haven't seen that movie in a long time. I remember like bits, but definitely.
I've never seen it. The only thing I've ever seen from it is the insane
music
video rap that Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd do, City of Crime.
It's still as weird as that is, it's not bad, that City of Crying rap song. It's nothing I want to hear again. It's nothing that I want to, like, put on, like, I don't know, maybe put on for friends, but I have no interest in, like, listening to that. It is like an album or something. But he doesn't rap. He raps okay for
I think I think I originally saw that in Everything Is Terrible. They had that like they're like one of their movies was like it's a rap or like it was all just like terrible rap like white people rap and like all these like country rap all these like horrible rap songs and like rap like videos and they put like City of Crime in there. At one point I'm like, wait, Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks, what the hell is this? I'm like,
again,
oh,
if
it's a
you've never seen
Dragnet
that.
movie. Yeah.
So I didn't mind this movie. Like, I'm not a huge Dragnet fan. Like, I'm not, you know, I wasn't like, oh, a diehard Dragnet fan. It has to be, like, very serious. I like that they took the original material of it and they played around with it a lot. They played around with the concept of, like, you have a cop that is, it's a mixed, I mean, it's almost like Turner and Hooch, but this time Hooch is like Turner, and then Dan Aykroyd is like a cop from the like 40s. So his manners, his forwardness, his very loose, not loose, but like his very strict adherence to the law, and Tom Hanks is supposed to be this like recluse, loose cannon, not really a playboy. He's flirtatious, and he is like, you know, kind of a dirty or like just lazy cop. So it's fun. Like they have like a fun chemistry. I kind of wish they did more movies together. They have like this like rhythm in the comedy that I didn't mind. Maybe because I'm fans of both of them, so I didn't mind it. But I don't know if critics were the same. And I would say the person that really steals the movie, besides that comedy duo, is Christopher Plummer. He plays this very like awkward villain, and then that's the point of his character. It's very subtle in his like laughter and the way he portrays himself. Because Christopher Plummer, you think, is very stoic and almost like always playing the wise man and stuff. So you watch him play, kind of like a mischievous pervert is different. It's there's like certain dialogue that I enjoy about him, especially when he's like describing something and he has this like fake laugh, but it comes out as like this awkward, like he's trying to be like this PG kind of Mr. Roger tone, but if you watch the movie, you'll get that he's trying to be like this more sinister guy, but his front is trying to be this like too awfully friendly. So I like it. Dragnet. I've seen this movie when I was a kid, and it's been like so long since I watched it. But I'm not sure if it's gonna be great for other people, but I enjoy it as a fun comedy. It's definitely not like the best comedy movie, but in terms of a remake of a TV show that uses the source material like properly, because they honor one of the original actors from Dragnet. The partner of the main character is actually from Dragnet, is now the chief of the department, with the original kind of partner guy, like he retired and has passed away. And now Dan Aykroyd is the nephew of that character, and he takes up the mantle basically. He is just Joe Friday, and he's a very like no nonsense cop. So I enjoy it. Like it's kind of, it reminds me of like how like a proper spoof, but done well, that it satisfies both the new audience and then fans of the original. But I don't know. Again, Brady Bunch movie set the perfect tone of taking a wacky concept that was a phenomenon and then make it even crazier for the 90s. This was like the 80s version of that. And I always thought in my head that the Brady Bunch did it first, but when you watch this, I think you realize that this Dragnet did it well too. and maybe later on, Addams Family, that era of remaking old 60s, like 60s through 70s TV shows into new IP movies, you know? Dragnet always gets forgotten in that mix.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, I watched Obliterated on
The whole
Netflix.
thing?
No, I watched like the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
And
I haven't seen that yet, but
I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's really good. And here's one little major spoiler: way more dicks than you think this show would show you. Like way more penis shots than you're thinking.
mm-hmm.
You'll see tits, whatever, right? But I appreciate a good comedy that uses like a good like penis joke, visual penis joke, just like outside the box. Like just okay, hey, you know, let's change it up. I think you see a dick before you see boobs. No, you see boobs, then you see dick. Like it's all like haha. Like I didn't know what the tone was gonna be because the violence is, at least in the first episode, very basic. Like it's very, I would say, like it touches, but as soon as you see a penis, you're like, all right, this is getting to a new level. But this show is like I gotta see what the creators were. I forgot. Like when we talked about it coming out, we were like, what? This is a show?
It's the guys who made Cobra Kai.
Okay, so they have like great chemistry and dialogue, but now they don't need to follow kind of like a teen show. It's like, what if teens now basically had adult jobs and they were a crazy task force? So like it's two Navy SEALs, one U.S. Army explosive guy, one Air Force Ranger, one U.S. Marine. Not even Ranger, Air Force helicopter pilot, one NSA computer person, one CIA, and then one I'm trying to figure out who the other guy was. But yeah, no, it's just like, you know, the different branches coming together. Wow, I kind of forgot. So I'm not gonna spoil it, but you'll see a character who like is so out of place in the sense of like what you would never suspect them to look this kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So when they are in this doing this role, it's great. And yeah, I recommend it wholeheartedly. This whole show takes place over like one crazy night, and the first episode sets the tone perfectly. But in the way that you think the trailer might have shown that they might have gotten super wasted, they've only been like intoxicated for like what seems like they didn't have a hangover night yet, where they basically did like drugs and drinking early, and now it's like they can't remember the night. This is them doing the party, and then it's like, oh shit, party's over, we need to go deal with this, but we're still like drunk. Where half of them are sobering up from the effects, the other half is the effects is now hitting them hard, but there's still more and more in the episode, like different things kick in, like, you know, all the drugs they took from here kick in, and here's this like kicking in. So, but then like in order to like not be a constant like these people should be dead, based on like toxicity, they have like flashbacks to minor things. So, you know, to sort of explain other character things. So you don't need to like have these characters explain why they're doing this or whatnot, because the first episode is just right as they finish their big mission that they've been working on for months. So the TV show doesn't really explain how everyone knows each other or whatever. They're just like, yeah, we did it. Let's go drink. Yeah, woo, yeah, oh, we're such good friends now. I'm like 3 of the guys really are friends. Everyone else is like they just met. So that's why I'm like, oh, okay, that explains a lot now. So you gotta have to take it like with a little, like, if the first episode doesn't grab you, it's gonna be like, I would say give it 2 episodes to get into it. But if the
Mhm.
second episode you're just not interested, like it's gonna be a harder thing. I don't think you're gonna have a problem with Zach. Uh, I also feel like you still haven't seen Fubar yet.
Not yet. No.
So Fubar and this are very similar. They take like a very serious topic and just have fun with it. They play with violence, they play with sex, and it's a show for adults, mature
Mhm.
adults that want to say like fart jokes and then occasional dick jokes. I'm down for that. I'm definitely the target audience. There's I'm pretty sure Cobra Kai doesn't have dick jokes like this. If they did, I'd be watching it more. But damn, Obliterated is something that I feel like they had to work up to in order to kind of tell this story.
Mhm.
Because you just can't just be like, well, let's make this, and this. And it's like, well, no, like who the hell are you? You know what I mean? Like it's such a crazy concept, and then with no portfolio to explain how you can tell this kind of story, and then how you can escalate it. Just because the premise is kind of crazy, the villain matches proportionate to what's going on. At least in the first few episodes I've seen, there is more to reveal as it goes. Like it doesn't automatically show its hand. Like some other comedy shows where you basically know who the main villain is and it's them trying to stop this one person. This is sort of like a 24. I think we talked about it in the past where this is basically what if Jack Bauer was just hammered and he's like, oh shit, I got like 12 hours to sober up and fight this terrorist. But that's essentially what it is. This is just 24 with like in Vegas and them just not giving a shit. They are essentially like a lot of them are assholes. One or two of them are playing the straight guy, but it's funny when the straight guy his drugs kick in and then he's like, okay, no, I'm not. I should not be the one telling what to do because I don't know where my feet are. So it's fun. And as someone who has been drunk, I have never done a covert mission before, but I feel like I can handle it. They seem like they can handle it.
Mhm.
Oh, also, I didn't realize this, but the guy that made Harold Kumar, I mean, the guy who helped write Harold Kumar also did Cobra Kai. So that's why it's very similar to like a crazy one night situation story. So yeah, it does have that pedigree. You feel it, like when you look at this movie, you feel the comedy go really well. Also, yeah, the group also made Blockers, which is another Netflix movie it recommended me. Man, so there's a formula. I'm going through Hayden and John and Josh's like the series creators, like
Mhm.
their writing and producing is just Harold Kumar movies, American Reunion, Cock Blockers, like Cobra Kai, and this movie called Plan B.
Yeah, they've been tons of comedy stuff. They've been like very like recently like you know very highly regarded comedy.
So I definitely recommend it.
It's definitely it's definitely in my list. It's my queue, so I'll get to
Yeah,
it
I know.
hopefully
There's so
soon.
much time in the year, so today's like a top TV show, but if you can manage it. But the problem is, if you only have this and Fubar to watch, I don't know what to tell you. You just have to pick one and stick with it. I wouldn't try to watch both at the same time because you'll burn out.
Because they're too similar. Yeah.
They're very similar. But yeah, that's it for me. What about you?
So I watched a couple things. So I saw a really fun new documentary called A Disturbance in the Force, which is about the Star Wars Holiday Special and basically how that whole crazy mess got created and why it was created and like what like what people were thinking when they made it. And it's a super fun documentary. It's got like a lot of like comedians are there, like Paul Scheer and the late Gilbert Godfrey and Seth Green and Kevin Smith and Weird Al and all, like so a bunch of like like celebrity comedic fans, Star Wars fans. but then a lot of people who actually like worked on it, like Steve Binder, like the director of the holiday special, is there. And some of the like Bruce Valanche is there. He co-wrote that that the holiday special.
He did?
Yeah, because he was at the time like he was like one of the the main like variety show writers. Because that's the whole one of the points they get into in the documentary is the holiday special didn't get created in a vacuum. Like that whole era of the late '70s, early like well, I think most of the '70s, but especially like the late '70s, there was just like everything was variety shows. Like all the TV was like variety shows, and also there's way more crazy or corny or terrible variety specials than the holidays, like the Star Wars holiday special. It's just like the Star Wars holiday special has Star Wars on it, so that's why it's become like infamous because just Star Wars is so huge. But there's a whole montage in the documentary of like these crazy other terrible variety shows with like a comedian, and then it's like a Halloween special or some sort of salute to something, and it's all terrible. And there's also a really fun Donny Osmond is in the documentary because uh, it kind of seems like it was like the practice run for the holiday special. There was a Donnie Marie like basically right after Star Wars came out. That was like a Star Wars like themed episode of Donnie Marie, and so they're like doing all these songs and sketches about Star Wars. And, like there's like Darth Vader was there, and C-3PO and Chewbacca and R2D2, and so there was like a lot of like precedent for like weird, strange variety shows, and then Star Wars Holiday Special kind of just like became like the like apex of it, of just like so bizarre, so strange, but based on like the biggest thing in the entire world.
Interesting.
And yeah, lots of really great details about the people behind it, and like they actually they dig into like each segment, and like there's like a lot of like fun inside like stories about like like there's like the whole like Jefferson Starship section where it's just like a Jefferson Starship music video for like 3 minutes of the special, and they talk to like one of the guys from Jefferson Starship, and it's just like what we you guys just showed up, like what do you think, like what were you guys thinking when you like shoot this music video, and like what was that like, and then one of the guys that like dressed up in like as like, the alien in the cantina for like the B. Arthur like musical number, and he's the guy, like I think he's dressed as like Ponda Baba, but like they don't call him Ponda Baba in that in the special, but he's the one like grabs B. Arthur and starts dancing with her, and then he was like describing his whole like experience on there, where he was like almost like dying from the heat because like there was like
no ventilation.
The studio was like 103 degrees, and there was like no ventilation, no oxygen in those masks they were wearing. So people were like collapsing on the sets.
It doesn't look like it'd be that hot, but I guess like they're filming in California.
Yeah,
then,
in like a concrete just like a bunker basically.
Because I forget, like Star Wars, the first or second movie, like at least the first movie is just not in America, and then the second, a lot of the wrap up scenes in the first movie, and then I'm going to say at least the second movie is in London, right? A lot of that is just filmed.
They filmed that like I think Star Wars was mainly filmed in London, and then there was on set or like on location in Tunisia, I think, and a couple other locations, but a lot of like I can't remember the name of the studio, like the studio in London, but it's a very famous like London studio, and that's where like a lot of the stuff was shot. But yeah, the holiday special was not shot there. It was shot in like somewhere in Los Angeles, in most like the cheapest way possible. But then it also like it ran. They shot for like it goes into like they shot for like 3 days, and they were like over budget after 3 days.
Oof.
But they only shot like 3 scenes. So like basically right from the start, it was like this like massive disaster. But yeah, if you're at all interested in Star like this holiday special, or just like weird bad movies, or just like kind of like stuff, I would definitely highly recommend it. It's super fun. I think you can rent it on like Amazon or Vudu and all that stuff. I think it's gonna be on Blu-ray and DVD like next week or by the end of the year. I think it's gonna be out. So you can watch it on physical media too if you want to grab it that way. But definitely super highly recommend checking that out. And then I checked out on Netflix Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which I don't think
did you finish it or just
I,
watch?
I finished the whole thing.
Ooh, I only watched like halfway through, I think.
The first episode, or so you
No,
finished the first episode
halfway.
yet? Okay.
I got to just the what's the skateboarder guy's name?
Oh, Lucas Lee.
Yeah, he fought out because they were filming him and he was dating the Knives Cho like co-star.
Oh, so you got like halfway through the series, like
yeah, I told you.
Okay. I think you meant like halfway through the first episode. I'm like, okay.
No, I had to keep watching. I was like, what is going on? And then, yeah, like I had to watch the next episode because I was like, I did not expect that.
Yeah, so that's probably like the most interesting part of the show is, spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but it's not a straight adaptation of the movie or the books. It's kind of like a what if or like an alternate timeline kind of situation where the first episode is basically like everything kind of goes the way you expect it to go. You know, Scott meets Ramona, and then they go to the Sex Bomb concert. But then when Matthew Patel shows up, he defeats Scott and seemingly kills Scott, and then it's just like, oh, now where'd we go? Because like now the Evil X is won. Like Scott's dead. Like what is this shit? What is this universe now?
Yeah, like,
and then
I like how after that they had to realize like now what? Do we all just take turns?
Mm-hmm.
Like dating Ramona?
Well, that's like a lot of the fun of the show is just like seeing all these like new kind of like combos of characters or like characters that you like didn't really get to like see a lot in the movie. They get like super expanded in the roles. So like Matthew Patel basically takes over the league because he defeats Gideon, and then Gideon like has to like slump back to like Toronto, and then he used to date Julie, and his actual name is like Gordon Goose. So there's that whole backstory, and then also like most of the show is like Ramona because it basically becomes like kind of like a detective or like an investigator because she's trying to figure out. There's evidence that like Scott didn't get killed, and then she's trying to figure out who, like, if someone like kidnapped him instead of like killed him, then where is he and like who took him? So then that's like the big thrust of the show is basically Ramona's like going around trying to like talk to all of her exes and talk to like suspects and try to figure out who's behind everything.
Yeah, but it becomes like a Ramona Flowers show at times. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I do like that they focus on other things. Like you think it's gonna be Ramona, like she's gonna become the main star. She kind of is, but at least the show takes the time to explore other things, which in the comic they didn't. The movie doesn't.
Yeah, it's totally different dynamics, totally different character combos that you never saw in any of the previous media, or like getting paired up.
I did see one spoiler word about that. I was like, "What?" Like, okay, I guess.
But then, just I mean, visually, it's incredible. It's Science Saru is the studio. I think they did Devilman Crybaby. I think is their big thing, right? Or I know they did some Star Wars Vision stuff. I know they did like at least 1 or 2 episodes of Star Wars Visions, and then they did like okay, Let's Be Heroes.
Oh, okay.
So they did a bunch of stuff, but yeah, their style it's the Brian Lee O'Malley like graphic novel style, but then with like even leaning even more harder into like anime, and then it has like a full on like anime, like Japanese like title sequence with like a Japanese pop song for like the opening title sequence, which is great.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All the music is great too because like it's all new songs. Like there's like a new Sex Bomb song instead of like the ones. So it's not just the stuff you heard from the movie. There's like new stuff. You do hear like like at one point they play like you kind of hear a little bit of like Black Sheep, but it's not like a full on like they don't just like play Black Sheep again. And then like all the Anamaguchi songs are great. It's basically it's like you distilled all the other Scott Pilgrim media, and see it's basically it's like the art style of the graphic novels, the music from the games, and the cast in the movie, and then it's like thrown into a blender and combined, and now it's this new animated series.
Right.
And obviously the voice cast is incredible because they were great in the movie, and now they're they're obviously all great here. And yeah, it's tons of fun. Like, it's got great action. Like, all the fight scenes are like super fun. It's got all the great like video game visual stuff. Like, I love every episode when they start when like the episode title comes up. It's like based on like a different like NES game. Like, the font is like very
I thought it was
like
Super NES.
Well, I think it's probably like a mix of both. Like I think like the episode you mentioned, like the Lucas Lee episode that starts with him, is like the title is like Skate or Die.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I love like his like that episode when it starts out and when he's like skating to like United States or whatever. Like, I love how it's shot like a CKY like 90s like skate video with it's like fisheye lenses and all that stuff.
And then I like how it's kind of like a reflection of how Hollywood would treat these people.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're hot for 1 minute, then you're not.
Oh, did you get to like the mockumentary episode yet or no? Is
that might be after.
I think it's probably if you watched like the one where like it starts off with Lucas and they're shooting like the movie, the Scott Pilgrim movie, where he's playing Scott Pilgrim. I think the next episode is like it's like a mockumentary about like the making of that movie.
I see. Wow, that's
so like
really quick.
So like the whole like style changes and it becomes like a document like a mockumentary like interview with like everybody. But yeah, that's like it's like really meta too about where like young Neil wrote somehow writes a screenplay that is the actual Scott Pilgrim story about like what if Scott beat Matthew Patel and like beat all the evil exes. So it's like they're making a movie that we know that we've already seen is like the action movie, but then in this new like timeline is like the weird alternate like timeline to them, like the weird like what if that happened? What if Scott won and he was still around, not dead? Like
I had to explain to Janice about that because she's never seen Scott Pilgrim, like the live action Scott Pilgrim. So I had to explain that, like, I had to stop showing her this. I was like, we have to watch that movie. I feel like you have to watch that version or read the book in order to get this.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely need to watch. I feel like you definitely need to watch the movie because, like, the show, like the anime show, is so much more fun when you like know the original dynamics, and then you get to see like the new like character pairings and like the new stuff that's going on. Like, because
you don't, you just think this is a regular thing.
Yeah. And all the inside jokes and like all that stuff. I love the director of like the fake movie is Edgar Wrong. Is that Edgar Wright? And he's just like a ridiculous goofball. And yeah, it's fantastic. Like, definitely if you're a Scott Pilgrim fan, it's a must watch. You need to like watch it if you haven't started watching it yet. It's like all the best pieces of different Scott Pilgrim stuff combined into this new thing. So that fantastic, definitely check that out. And then last thing I saw is I finally got to see Godzilla Minus One because that expanded last week. I think it's expanding even more this week because it's been killing at the box office. And I think Toho basically said like if people keep coming out, they're going to keep expanding it and keeping it in theaters. So if you want to see it, head out and see it. But yeah, this is a fantastic Godzilla movie. Probably one of the best Godzilla movies I've ever seen. And it's great because it has like actual like interesting human characters, which you normally don't really get in Godzilla movies. You kind of get like either like okay but not really interesting characters or like terrible boring characters. But all the human characters in this movie are like they're like super complicated and like they have like really interesting backstories and like personal drama they're dealing with, and it's very dramatic. Like it's like all like the main character is a kamikaze pilot in World War II, but then he didn't go through with like any like his mission, and then obviously survives the war, but then when he gets back to like Tokyo or like his like home city, everyone's just like, you should die. You're a disgrace. You're a
You
compromised
survived
pilot.
the war? How dare you?
Yeah, like where's you're a coward. You should have come back. So he's dealing with like that kind of like pressure and like PTSD, and but then he also survived like a Godzilla attack at the end, like toward the end of the war. Um,
Oh, like Godzilla was already doing its thing before?
well, it was kind of like proto Godzilla. It was like Godzillasaurus kind of,
Oh, okay.
and then the Bikini Atoll nuclear test transformed like the Godzilla dinosaur into Godzilla, and then Godzilla shows up. So Japan is already, but Japan's been like totally devastated by World War II. Like Tokyo is like in rubble. The Hiroshima and Nagasaki had nuclear bombs dropped on them. So like Japan is basically has nothing during this movie, and then Godzilla shows up to like and destroys it even more. Which that's kind of like that's where you get like the minus one title, because like I think the trailers kind of explained it. Where like post World War II, like Japan was at zero, like basically a zero state because they're like totally devastated. But then what happens? What happens when like you're at zero and then Godzilla shows up? You're less than zero. Like you're like now you're minus like devastation, like total devastation. You're like somehow beyond total destruction because Godzilla's here now. And then also, it's also like how's Japan? Because they've been like they have all their military might got like almost like decommissioned by the U.S. after the war, and so they basically have almost like no defense against Godzilla. They have like a couple ships that they can like that were like bound for a scrapyard. They can like slap together and try to like use them to stop Godzilla, and they have like one plane that they like put together.
I was hoping the surprise is that they accidentally invent like the first Gundam or something. Like they make a mech,
Yeah.
but they don't.
No.
Is Godzilla the only thing in this movie that's just like rampaging, or is just he's just being a dick?
Well, it's like a return to Gojira Godzilla, where it's like Godzilla is like a force of nature in this movie, where he's just unstoppable. You don't really like. You're not really sure like why
he's just survive him.
Yeah, you have like he is like a natural disaster that is just like unleashed on Japan now. And I think definitely like one of the most like terrifying Godzillas ever, especially like with like his atomic breath, like generates actual like atomic explosions.
Oh, that's not good for that radiation.
So Godzilla like breathes this fire onto like a building, and then like it's like full on mushroom cloud, like shock wave, like people getting sucked into like the blast. Like I don't think I've ever seen like Godzilla's like atomic breath like portrayed that way, which is like it's like actually generating like nuclear explosions.
Yeah, usually it's just blue flames.
And there's such like a build. There's like a build up to like before he does it, where like his spikes on his back start like popping out, and it's like it's like this like slow dread building of like, oh shit, Godzilla's Godzilla's gonna use his breath, and and every time he uses his breath, it's like a major like, oh shit, like it's not just like in like the other movies where it's like, yeah, he's like using like one building, and like he's blowing up entire cities with his breath in this movie. So, and then everyone's they're trying to fight him with like fishing boats, and like our main character gets a job trying to like sweep mines from like the like because like the Japanese Navy and the American Navy like laid so many mines in like the ocean around Japan, and like in the like the waters of Japan during the war. So now they're trying to like get the mines back and like either detonate them or like get them back and like remove them from like the ocean before they like destroy like civilian boats. So like one of the big like Godzilla sequences is like Godzilla's like chasing them like kind of Jaws style, and they're trying. And they said that the only weapon they have is like the mines they collected. So they're trying to like throw these mines at the Godzilla and try to like blow him up with it. Which that's, I mean, so it's like there's like great human like personal drama and like actually like interesting characters, but also like balls to the wall crazy Godzilla action. So it's like the best of both worlds.
I see.
And
I don't know. What would you prefer in your Godzilla movie, where he just sort of bothers the crap out of humans, or he is drawn to something to fight?
I mean, I guess it depends. Like, I mean, I like both. I like force of nature, like original like Gojira Godzilla, or like this one. But then it's also fun when he's like kind of like the anti-hero. Like he's our only chance against like an even worse monster, like another monster. So he kind of becomes like our savior, like our like in like like in the legendary movies like King of the Monsters or something, where it's like, oh, Godzilla's like the alpha that we have to like rely on to like stop these other like monsters from coming.
Okay.
But then,
because like this movie is becoming such a cult phenomenon about this.
Yeah,
it's been dominating that I was kind of curious that like there was a surprise twist in the middle where like I don't know, a time portal opens up or like.
No, it's super straightforward.
I suspected. I thought it'd be like because I heard there was like very limited budget in this movie too compared to other movies.
Oh yeah, they said it like the report said it was like 15 million, but then the director's like, man, I wish I had 15 million. It's probably even less than 15 million, which is like already for like a super special effects like blockbuster, like where you're like it's like render Godzilla. I mean, and Godzilla looks fantastic for whatever the budget was. Like, Godzilla looks awesome. Like the way he moves and everything is great. He moves like old school like kind of like Gojira or like very stiff. Like he's not like jumping around like he's not nimble. He's like just very systematically just like stomping his way through the cities. He's picking up so many cars and throwing them around. Like it's very classic Godzilla, but like kind of evil Godzilla, like force of nature Godzilla stuff. And it has the like it has the classic theme. It's got like the Godzilla theme. So when he's stomping through the city, it's just like den 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 with the Godzilla theme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'd say if you're a Godzilla fan, go see it as soon as you can. And it's probably playing near you now because it's been expanding like every week. And it's probably definitely gonna be on my like top 10 of the year for my favorite movies. I'm still working on my list, but it's definitely it's gonna be on there somewhere. So so that's what I've been watching. So definitely see Godzilla, and then come back to the site next week for Home Alone 3, and head over to the site for all of our usual other stuff. We got all the trailers we talked about. We've got features. We finally put up our Retro Game Con X trip report. So if you want to see what we did back in October in Syracuse at Retro Game Con, you can check that out. And we'll have a PAX Unplugged article up sometime in the near future. Yeah.
This year?
Sometime this year, maybe, or early next year.
No, this year. I should.
It'll be this year. Okay. This year. And yeah, all the other stuff up the site. However, check all that stuff out. And so for Chris, I am Zach, and we will see you next week. For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.